Hello, my name is Christy Carrolls and I'm a Sales Systems Engineer at Intel Security. I want to discuss a new, innovative solution from Intel Security that provides an immune system against advanced targeted attacks. It's called McAfee Threat Intelligence Exchange. It is a completely new architecture for enterprise security to stop advanced targeted attacks. In this brief today, we're going to talk about how TIEDXL connected to ATD can help with zero-day malware in your environment. So let's dig in. Okay, let's explore use case number 1. Let's talk a little bit about our test environment today. We have a Windows 7 machine running Internet Explorer, and our first use case, we're going to have a user who is running their Gmail. For some reason, they are using Gmail. In most places, it's allowed. It's the end of year, so they're pretty interested about getting their end of year bonus information. So our user is going to click on this file and it says, "Hey, Christy, the end of the year approaches us. We're communicating more about payout information." Sounds pretty interesting to me. Look, it's coming from Christy Carrolls. It's got a correct type of email address. Human resources sounds pretty legit. So it says, to get this information needed, please click to receive the latest company information. So let's go ahead and click here. And a pop-up is going to pop up for us. And blank page displays, and it shows that they want us to download or run the file. So the user's like, I totally want to run this, and says, yeah, we can't figure out who this is from, but it doesn't matter. Most users click run anyway. So they go ahead and click run. And at this point, the TIEDXL or the TIE Exchange module for virus scan pops up and prompts the user. It says, hey, this file name, we've never seen it before. It's coming from IE. What do you want to do from the user? And the user says, you know what? Need this file for payout info. And they allow it to run. Okay, so kind of nothing really happens. This is, oh wow, this window pops up. Wait, it says exfil.exe. That's probably not good. Another one says, hey, thanks for activating my trust manager. Please allow up to 14 days for my stock grant. Okay, well that doesn't really make any sense, but I'm going to click OK because that's what users do. Kind of open this window, so I'm going to close it again. Now, as most users do, after they don't get what they want, they click the link again. They click there. They say run again. Yep, we totally want to run it. But you're going to notice it was blocked this time. We're getting a very different message. It's telling us that the Threat Intelligence Exchange module for VSE blocked this file. There's the name of the file, and it was identified that ATD reports this as suspicious. So what's ATD again? That's our Advanced Threat Defense, our sandboxing and static analysis technology. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK. We'll close this window. And I just happen to have ATD open in the background. You'll also notice that I have EPO. We'll look at that in a little bit. So we have to log in. And we will log into our machine. We'll let our dashboard load. It'll just take a second for it to load. You'll notice it's a pretty similar interface that you're used to seeing with EPO, Dashboard Analysis Policy Manager. And kind of gives you the overview of what's happening within ATD, the status of the system, the different types of malware by type, analysis engine, what it's doing, etc., different types of files. But what we're interested today in is our analysis. Now, our analysis is where everything gets sent. Now, the interesting thing was, remember that file that we looked at before? It was called the EOY_bonus.exe. Well, here it is. It went through the full analysis, right? Analysis status. The interesting part is the user who sent it was EPO TIE, right? So it went through our analyzer profile number 1. Here's the MD5 hash of that file. And this is really great when we actually start doing hunting within our environment to try and find that on other hosts in our environment. Now, let's look at this analysis result. Here's that file that we saw that we downloaded, so EOY_bonus.exe. You'll also notice that the user who sent it was the EPO TIE, so it came directly from our EPO High host. There's our host. And then let's click on some reports. So we have the ability to actually look at this report in an HTML format, PDF. We can see any of the dropped files that the executable put on our host. We can look at disassembly results, logic path graph, API log, and then this file right here, which is the complete results, will give us a package of everything that we see above. Now we're just going to look at the HTML. We'll let this load up. Takes just a second. And we'll see here that the file name's right here. There's again the hash. the identifier. Now the duration, this is actually really important, it's only 111 seconds. So it went through the full analysis where it said, hey, the GAM actually found it to be very high based on this threat name. And then it went through the malware sandbox too. So it's part of this threat, the malware.dynamic, shows it's very high. So the final result is that it's a very high type of a threat. And it goes into all this information. We can talk about this a little bit later, but it shows us why it was bad, the different things it did, gives us GTI web information from the reputation if we have that. And then we can also see things like file operations that it did, and it continues down this path. It starts getting really interesting too when we start seeing the xfil.exe. Look at this, network operations. Shows me what it did, initiated some DLL sockets, some more network operations, right? Look, IP addresses and ports of what it was trying to go over. This is really useful information for our firewall team. If you're using our firewall with our full ecosystem, this could be automatically blocked based on that TIEDXL infrastructure framework. Anyway, so this is some really great information that we have, and this went through ATD. Now, we're going to go back to our host, and we're going to look at our second use case. Okay, so let's go take a look at use case number 2. So use case number 2 is similar to use case number 1. We are using email. It's going to be a little bit different. So user downloads a file from the internet, could be from a reputable web page. We're going to use email in this instance. 'Tis the season for interesting Christmas cards coming through our email. So we'll notice right now we have one called the Intel Security Christmas Card 2015. So we'll click on that, and it's pretty, got a little Christmas tree in there. It says, as the end of the year approaches, thank you for being an integral part of Intel Security. Again, looks pretty legit. You'll notice that the tree is a link, and then it says Christmas card link. Click here. So please download the file and enjoy. So we're going to click on it, and we're going to save it. Okay, it says it can't be verified. So we're like, oh, let's go ahead and view our download. So here's our Christmas card download. And we are going to go ahead and run this file. So remember, it's been saved into our downloads. And we get that similar TIE module for VSE prompt. It says, hey, you sure you want to run this? And we're going to say, yeah, corporate Christmas card. And we're going to allow it. So it does its thing. It says there's something right there. Say, yeah, sure, go ahead. Oh, wait, look at, again, that similar message. Now remember, we have TIE sending unknown files to ATD. So let's go over our ATD screen. Here's our analysis status, and here we go. Christmas card is being run. It's currently in the process of analyzing our card. Again, shows the same things. EPO TIE sent it over to our ATD system. Okay, we see that the status is completed. And we can go and look at the results. You'll notice that it shows that it was, again, very high and bad. And we'll come back and look at the reports in a little bit, but again, similar results. So the interesting part now is the user says, hey, where's my Christmas card? Let's go ahead and click on this tree again, and they're going to try and run it. I'm going to try and run this file. It says, hey, wait, TIE has blocked it, again, identified by ATD that this is a suspicious file and has blocked it from running in our environment. So these are two really great use cases of how this can stop 0 days from running in your environment. Now let's explore a little bit of what we see in EPO and some of the things we can do with the reputation. Now let's log into our EPO server. And you'll notice it brings us to one of our TIE module dashboards. Just like in true EPO form, we can kind of get a bunch of different views of our dashboards, things like cleaned events for the last 30 days, allowed events by type, whether it's prompted, timed out, things like that, the different reputations of our files. But we're going to look at something called our TIE reputations, and this is where it really gets pretty interesting. So within TIE reputations, we're actually able to view information about the different files, of everything that's in our database, right? So here's all our files in our database. There's a ton of files. Remember, ATD did some classification, and through that DXL framework, reports all this information back to EPO. So remember I said we were able to search on hash Right here, here's that threat analysis report from ATD about the Christmas card we received. Here's that MD5 hash identifier. This is what's really interesting is we copy this hash, we can go back over to EPO and do a quick find in all these files based on hash. And here, it found our Christmas card, right? There it is, and known malicious via ATD reputation. That's what's really cool about this, is it allows us to search directly through that hash or even file name, right? So we could do by file name as well, and that's one way to do it. Now here's where it actually gets even more interesting. So it's some pretty cool stuff you can do. So now that we've found this file, we can select it, and under our actions display, we can say, where has this file run in our environment? This is going to give us a really quick way of knowing exactly where this file is run. So W7TIE09, that's the system that we've been working on, and we see that it's run in our environment. We can click on this and view a little bit more information about the system details, whether or not they're up to date with an EPO. If you're used to using EPO, you'll probably notice that this looks really familiar. It also shows all the threat events in the last couple weeks that have been happening on this host. Now, I do want to show you something that we can do. It's something that has to do with the reputation, this global reputation, right? So if we know this is a known malicious file, I'm going to actually minimize the screen so you can see what kind of cool stuff that we can do. So you'll see we did a download. There's our Christmas card 2015. Here it is right here. I'm going to select it, and I'm actually going to say actions, and I'm going to say file known malicious. Now add a comment, ATD classified as bad, and I'll say OK. And from here, sent file reputation is known malicious. You're going to notice something in the background that almost instantaneously that file disappears. So it's really interesting the things you can do once you've set the reputation. And remember, since this TIEDXL framework and TIE is actually running in conjunction with VirusScan Enterprise on your host, it can do some really great things to keep your systems clean from these threats. Okay, so a good example I guess we can use is our end of year bonus. That was that first example that we used from the user clicking on that link and they downloaded the file. We can do an EOY, that's how we can find it. Remember, we searched previously by hash. You can also search by file name. And here's the interesting part. So I think it's in documents. Yeah, that's where it ended up. So it went to the documents folder. So from here, I can say actions, and I'm going to say file known malicious, classified bad by ATD. I'll say OK. And that's where we're going to see that file disappear from the documents folder. And there we go. File is gone. So we've removed this off of our system. It is known malicious. And if the user actually tries to download this again and run it again, that reputation is going to stay in this TIE reputations database and alert the host anytime it tries to run that file again. So there's a lot of really great stuff that you can do with TIE. There's a lot of policies you can set around allowing files to run if it's never been seen, sending it off to ATD. Depending on your environment, you really can customize this to make this the perfect tool for stopping those 0 days. Hope you've enjoyed my video. Thanks. And thank you for your time today. Appreciate it.